I want to just start by reiterating that this protest started with 30,000 incarcerated people, and 60 days later, 40 people had gone 60 days without eating. So, yeah, that's nuts. So, what does that mean? Right? What does that even mean? 2 months, right? I haven't ever done anything for 2 months straight, and so when I conceive of that, I'm humbled. I'm humbled by the people in prison that brought us here through that incredible feat. And I'm humbled by the people who show up to these things, drive all over California, and hand out the papers, wear the T-shirts, make the phone calls, come, during this, take time out of their lives. So I just want to say a couple things. So I was in solitary confinement for 8 years, and in order to do that, the authorities had to put me in this category, this worst of the worst category, in order to do that, right? I'm not that bad, right? I'm not that bad. So, and I was thinking, like, what are the ramifications? If we don't change this, what are the ramifications? The way the system is today, the way the program, the California Department of Corrections program is set up so that right now, somewhere in this state, an 18-year-old child is being sent to prison with a life term. That person, God forbid they have great genes and they stay alive for another 80 years and get validated and sent to Pelican Bay because they're threatening for one reason or another. And we're not talking about violent people. We're talking about people who are culturally aware, people who are politically aware, people who are spiritually aware, and who inspire other prisoners to think beyond the walls of their prison. These are the people that were on strike, that went 60 days. I was incarcerated for over 16 years. I spent 12 in prison. And I was surrounded by some scary people, but they weren't in solitary confinement. Those aren't the people that are in solitary confinement for decade after decade. It's the people who are intellectually dangerous and who are spiritually dangerous and who motivate people to think about their lives in new ways. I wasn't one of those people. I was very small-minded. All I cared about was myself when I was in prison, And when I went to Pelican Bay, these other people that had these these larger capabilities, they welcomed me, they fed me. I was the only white person there, okay? They welcomed me, they fed me, and they comforted me as much as they could, for the conditions that we were in. I'm talking about Southern Latinos, Northern Latinos, blacks, and then I got out of prison and I found a new way of life, and I started this. I've been out of prison about 10 years now, and I made it to Berkeley. And the reporter asked me today, so does it work, right? Are you the exception? Well, I am the exception, but I'm not exceptional. I am as far as things go, I'm pretty unexceptional. You know what's exceptional is reaching across barriers, like these racial barriers that we create and that are supported by the authorities. Reaching across those, and it's not easy to go, hey, we're gonna make peace. That wasn't easy. That took leadership. That took strength and power of spirit. Right now, like I said, that 18-year-old child, there's a 14-year-old child, there's a 16-year-old child that's in Oakland, in LA, in Stockton, who's just fighting to stay alive, who's going to end up in prison because that's the world they're given, right? These are their options. Cal isn't their option. I don't see people like that at Cal. Even though these people in prison, these people in Pelican Bay, they'll rock Cal. They'll get A's. They'll come up with new ideas. They'll scare those people. They don't. Yeah. So, you know, this movement's getting bigger. I see it. It's getting bigger. The prisoners are willing to fight. We're willing to help them. Go back to your communities after today. Join an organization if you're not part of one. Prison Hunger Strike Solidarity Coalition. We can help you get in touch with somebody in your neighborhood. Thank you.
I just want to thank Stephen. You know, I was over there and some of the stuff he said brought me to tears. I don't know about you guys. As he stated, it was 30,000 people who started this hunger strike, who went on the hunger strike, I should say, but and they went 60 days. He said that he himself had been incarcerated for 16 years and in solitary for 12 of those 16 years. He also spoke about how the men think beyond the walls. He said that he was selfish because he thought about himself, but he commended these men being locked in solitary confinement, and they're thinking about everybody. They're not just thinking about themselves. He said the men are considered dangerous because of their intellect. So why would they be locked up? Because they have all of this intellect. These guys have managed to reach past the barriers, across the barriers that have, you know, kept them confined. I'm glad Stephen made it out. Even though he doesn't think high of himself, I think he has done a tremendous job to go through this whole thing, this whole ordeal of his life being a youth. And as he said, those 14, 15, 16-year-old kids are being targeted. Right now, we can help stop that.